Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening? We're seeing a lot of interesting stories happening in the nation of Zimbabwe right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of developments we're seeing. We're seeing headlines like this one. Chiwenga cranks up the pressure once again. What is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe? Yes, we did do so over the weekend at the National Heroes Acre. We saw a video clip where we see him speaking. We didn't fight the liberation so that people, the majority of people could suffer. We didn't go for the liberation struggle for the benefit of a few cadres. We saw him speaking on that. Now what has happened? And we're seeing also Mliswa wading in on the Zimbabwe political saga. What is Mr. Mliswa talking about? A few days ago, we also saw, in fact, a few weeks ago, we saw Walter Magaya being arrested. And he is back with a prophetic message that is very powerful. Can we say this message that is coming from Walter Magaya is a prophetic message or is a threat? You listen to it and you decide. Anyways, you all know that these prophets, we always judge them.
Bata munhu bata. Kuchamhanyiwa. Ndati kuchamhanyiwa. Shekore rino kuchamhanyiwa. Ndati kuchamhanyiwa. Ndati kuchamhanyiwa.
Igore rekusungwa.
Alright.
Ya, vanojasungwa.
Kusungwa izinto kusungwa.
Kutoiswa mjeri.
Kusungwa nemwenjina.
Hayi kutoiswa mjeri cha. Amajeri achazara.
Kune vakabata pasiripo kuchamhanyiwa.
Next year.
Ya, bese ari kutambira kupolitics ngawangwari, ngawachenjera. Anenge ari mawani kuchatsva politics.
Kuna akazondibvunza akanditi koinda musingapindure musingataure. Ndakati kuchamhanyiwa.
Anze mumwe akazondibvunza kuti koinda musingapindure musingataure ndikati kuchamhanyiwa. Now what are Zimbabweans saying about this? We see one post that reads, Zimbabwean prophets could not prophesy way about of the Guru serial killer, yet they are busy threatening those in politics. What is happening, fellow Zimbabweans? We are seeing Mliswa coming in with rather interesting perspective that he's going to be given.
What legacy are we creating? One of sacrifice, patriotic service, and national purpose, or one of plunder? Ladies and gentlemen, the liberation struggle was not waged so that a few could prosper while men remain in abject poverty. It was fought so that every Zimbabwean could walk in dignity and economically empowered. Our duty is not to merely honor their memory. It is to implement their vision through.
Now we all still remember this one. Now this one is followed by what? It is being followed by this one happening today, where we are right now.
The issue of trying to ascribe constitutional term limits to this matter is merely a matter of propaganda. What people need to understand is, in as much as the president has said that he does not want to pursue leadership up to 2030, the party has spoken and the party has made it clear that this is their wish, and the president, being a man of democracy and a constitutionalist himself, will surely, as the party hopes, eventually agree to what the people are saying. The party has been clear that since 2018, the strides in the economy, we are one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. People can deny, but these are the facts. World Bank recorded. We were voted top tourist destination this year. So we clearly see that under the leadership of President Mnangagwa, there is.
So let us not miss those details. Zimbabwe top tourist destination declared by World Bank because we might get caught up in the politicking, and we forget to play our parts, to participate. Remember, national prosperity is not personal prosperity. So we see Farai Marapira pushing on 2030 day. But anyways, something interesting. We call the Chinese guys our brothers whom we went through a liberation struggle period together with at the same time. So when they come here, we call them investor, my boss, but they're just our fellow brothers. Zimbabwe and China, we just went through the liberation struggle together. Take note of this video. The Chinese are fighting, or they are beating each other, or they are quarreling, whatever they are doing. Take note of the response of the Zimbabwean brothers. Then these Chinese guys, take note of their dressing, what they are wearing compared to us. Our brothers are like, usabate, usabate. Anyways, we see the Chinese guys, work suit, nima heta, tungo ma plastic heta, emsoro ma hard heta. Amendano matini heta, machichi, ma hard heta. Right. Hands on. The guys will be hands on in their work. Anyways, I had to catch you there. Tichango pindam video. Yes, fellow Zimbabweans. Now, let's get on to the not scandalous stuff. What does Sebuku Temba Mliswa have to say, ladies and gentlemen? Now let's get into the deep stuff. Now he says this: payback time for all factional elements in ZANU-PF. Against all conviction and logic, there has been a subtle but insistent drive to peddle a narrative that architects of the failed uprising against government and President Mnangagwa in late 2025 are strategically silent and even planning an explosive comeback. But underlying argument is that they did not fail in their bid, and any celebration would be premature. Advocates of this nature subtly imply that the principal figures behind the successful insurrection remain in position of influence, orchestrating an intricate scheme designed to ensure their perceived adversaries, most notably prominent business leaders unfairly branded with the derogatory label Zvigananda. Now this writing at Temba Mliswa is a different language, is a different writing. He doesn't write as he speaks, so I'm going to speed it up. The reality that a multitude of Gaza-fronted protests, planned revolts, and elaborate dossiers failed to materialize the coup, so they fervently desired seems completely lost on these individuals. For them, this retreat into a muted collective finding solitude in populist rhetoric does not represent capitulation, but rather a calculated long-term strategy aimed at fostering complacency, all the while preparing to unveil their next strategy. One such misguided element even posted that those who fought VP Chiwenga will have a hard time in 2026. Is the mother of all ironies, because VP Chiwenga in fomenting negativity against this principle should be the one facing difficult questions, not those who stood in defense and support of the party resolutions and positions. What does this suggest? He is saying what he is saying in clear political rhetoric. He is not beating about the bush. Former President Mugabe once heard about the existence of a factional grouping termed Gamma Talks, was swift to act and paged the whole lot of us. See, the guy brings himself in the picture. Right. Let's continue. Unfortunately, in that instance, it was false allegation, as rivals simply wanted to remove Mamjuri from the chess table towards power. Actually, what happened then? Somebody was being removed actually from the equation. Now, the same happened in the aftermath of the terrorism declaration at Dinyane Secondary School, as the likes of Jacob Mdenda, Professor Moyo, Daniel Shumba, Mike Madiro, and others were suspended. Daniel Shumba, the guy who started Econet, all those who were caught in it suffered what was due to the actions. Here, the point is about the swiftness of action against clearly internal opposition to a legitimately elected government. When I say Daniel Shumba, I didn't exclude Stray Masiwa. They started it together. Mugabe's tenure was characterized by decisive elimination of perceived adversaries, a tactic that ensured that his successors understood the importance of loyalty, cognizant of the inevitable consequence of disloyalty. Now he continues, not just one page, ladies and gentlemen, on x.com, 2, right? Then he mentions things like renewing the party, reviewing the party. Change is the only constant in life. That is very true. Change is the only constant in life. Those are some universal principles. Even in politics, time has shifted. Many revolutionary parties are losing grip on power. So when the politicians are doing their planning, if they do any, they have all that in mind. How about the ordinary Zimbabwean? What do we have in mind? Ladies and gentlemen, we followed Kwaputika and the Gupi, Kurukumanywa and the Gupi. Leading us to the where we are right now. The leading story in today's standard. Ladies and gentlemen, we've entered another year. Now, the year is 2026. Starting from January to December, let us make a conscious effort to take note of all the headlines that are going to be happening from January to December. We will notice they are going to be the same headlines every month. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. We will be revolving around 5 same stories in Zimbabwe. Until when? Until when? Anybody in Zimbabwe who can think, just any thinking, I'm not going to say critical thinking because a lot of people do not understand the meaning of the word critical. Any thinking, we are silenced by a mob psychology or a mob mentality, a crowd that just cheers and jeers over the same stories. Be it in social, in sporting, in business. Right now our newspaper is like it's a political newspaper. It's entertainment. We no longer even have dynamos and things like that. January is a month of reflection because we're wasting our attention on not wrong things. We are all putting our attention on things that are not our interests or our trades or our professions. Some of us are politicians and everythingicians. We're not everyone. back to the drama. I leave you here, fellow Zimbabweans. I'm going to sign out with this, but I'm going to be keeping it running. Big up to everybody who was watching us live right about now. Enough respect. January 1, 2026, a day that started just like any other in Zimbabwe, but ended with a moment that would capture the nation's attention. Watch this. A lone man dressed in an orange shirt stands defiantly in the middle of the road, blocking President Mnangagwa's motorcade. The tension is palpable as plainclothes security agents rush to pull him aside, ensuring the convoy can proceed without delay. This bold act didn't just stop traffic, it stopped the internet. Social media erupted with praise, calling him a legend, a hero, and even demanding awards and statues in his honor. Comments like, "This man deserves an award," and "Rename Robert Mugabe Street after him" flooded platforms, reflecting a mix of admiration and dark humor. But let us step back. This isn't just about one man and one moment. It's a snapshot of a nation grappling with deep-seated issues. Zimbabwe under President Mnangagwa has been marked by political repression, economic hardship, and growing sense of frustration among its people. Acts like this, while solitary, symbolize a broad discontent that simmers just beneath the surface. Yet, not everyone sees it as a victory. Some warn of the consequences. There's usually another team that follows. One user would note on social media, hinting at the likelihood of arrest or questioning by authorities. It's a reminder that in Zimbabwe, standing up can come at a price, and a very high one. This event, amplified by outlets like ZimEye and shared widely on YouTube, underscores a critical point. Individual acts of defiance, while powerful, often don't spark the organized unrest needed for systematic change. The political environment remains tightly controlled with little room for dissent. But moments like this keep the flame alive, keeping the conversation of resistance alive. I had forgotten not one important, but one important reflection to make, fellow Zimbabweans. Zimbabwe news is not news, it's all reflections, it's all moments of reflection. We can't keep dragging ourselves through the same cycles. This is the Bay Bridge border post, and today is the 5th of January, 2026. I mean, my digital passport achashandiri oro passport to our humanity as a people. Kaunike udango delayana nekaurisana nekumisana muraini. Even if you go to the passport office, you may find at the passport office there is a longer queue than that which would be at the border every day. How can we have queues at the passport offices? Tisnama queue kunozvarwa vanhu vacho every day. Ask my birth certificate for us around, but it doesn't make sense.
Yes, Tabo, that's the feeling on the ground from the travelers. They are saying that this process is taking long. In fact, if you can see on my right, it's a queue of light motor vehicles that are moving towards the border post. They're coming from Zimbabwe side, heading to South Africa. And these are people who are...
So this is the news we're getting. Do we know where we get the word news, where the word news come from? The word news come from new. One new thing. Kana zvawanda news. One new thing, two news, three news. What's latest? One new thing, two news. What is new? What is new? Same struggle. That is sadism. It's nothing new. So as a people, any informative thing that informs new information, new inform to put in another form, we can't get it when we are saying bridge ranga rakazara poto ranga rakaputika futi. And that is where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. The year is 2026, 2026, year 2026, where we are right now. Agenda 2026, young 2026.
Still waiting to be cleared, and they are saying that they've been waiting for a number of hours now before they get cleared. And then on my left, there is a queue of pedestrians, Thabo, and it's a long queue that stretches up until where the border between the border next to Zimbabwe. That's where the first entry point is, and they are saying that they've been standing on the queue for a long time. But the Border Management Authority has always been saying that they expected such a huge number of people to come to them.
And there is a border management when they cannot manage the border. Do we understand the meaning of the word management? To manage, can you manage to carry these things? Can also you can't manage. Then we can call you management.
The border, and as much as they are doing their best to clear them as fast or quick as possible, but it's not happening. So thank you very much for your time. Now, how is your trip going so far?
Now on my trip it's very bad. La asijabuli ne situation ilana because uyabona mhlambi yabantu yonke lesifika lapha ngo10 o'clock up to now ayikho into ehambayo. So siyacela ukusizwa, uyabona manje kuyanetha asila option. Sizomanzeka namanzi. Abantu bonke bakhala, ukhala mina ngedwa. Kunabantu baningi kodwa bakwazi ukukhuluma ilanguage. That's why babona bathulile lapho. So siyacela ukusizwa just nje uyabona lapha phambili futhi kune 2 lines kuvaliwe futhi. So asazi maybe thina sizolala futhi lana lokuzenzwa kanjani asazi sicela ukusizwa lana.
So Thabo, that's one person on the queue here actually complaining to say that they're now even worried that they won't be able to get to work by tomorrow because of the huge delays. They are asking for help and they are hoping that their voices will be heard so that they can be processed and get to enter into South Africa. But also the focus is not only on those who are on the queues, Thabo. The Border Management Authority has just alerted us that through their drones they are picking up some people who are actually believed to be crossing trying to cross illegally from Zimbabwe into South Africa. My brother, if you don't mind, just to talk to us about the current situation, how is your trip going so far?
Yeah, things are not good at all. If you can see, we have been waiting for a year for a long time, but yeah, we think we are going to...
So these guys are having these problems at the border. These passport issues zekuti ndina passport izvi zvinofanira ku Harare izvi munhu asati ambokwira mubhazi same way ndiko pa airport same way ndiko pa road port tozoona ma logistics kuti kana pakanozotwa ma accident mu road vanhu vari in transit zvinofamba sei shit ipaperwork yan 2 3 4 we don't expect accidents kuti kunofikwa every day. Road port, when a proper processor or paper, whatever the process is called, but queuing for nothing. That is queue developmental. Of course, it's developmental in that those who are exporting their skills, they are giving us forex through forex remittance. So we cannot say it's developmental. But it's not developmental as in a national developmental strategy. My extra.
They are going to open for us there. We think so, but we've been waiting here for a long time. And if you can see, we've got old people here, we've got grandmothers, we've grandfathers. They've been here in queues.
Just listen to the emotion in this guy. If an entire nation is in this state, how can we ever progress? Fellow Zimbabweans, how can the next best thing come from Zimbabwe or the next best person? The next best anything. The best anything that is yet to be, that has not yet been. All because of our narcissistic attitudes. Apo ningori pa basa uri public service uchiwana kudhina nevanhu. Apo ndinotsvaka basa racho.
For a long time, so it's a very big challenge for us to wait for you for a long time like this.
All right, thank you very much. So, Thabo, yeah, that's the current situation on the ground. As you can see, there is quite a long queue, and it's very clear that it will take time for all these people to be processed anytime soon.
Get a sense, though, Mweli, that the BMA, the authorities, have plans to tackle this backlog. I mean, are they speaking of extended hours? Are they speaking of other interventions, processing manually? How are they responding to this challenge?
Only those people are going in our site. Could clear passport to how many minutes per person? I tell you 1 minute per person. But you go scan social black chicken. We face uyo. Ndiye. Ndimere ndini. Muno crossa. Next. Vekujoza nime wakapedza nazo kudhara. Vekujoza vanongoseva 5 minutes per 1 hour wapedza. Uvombozorora zvawakamira kuZimbabwe wamboungana mbichana. Ngatisadaro man. Ndokusiya kwatiri kuitwa.
Long backed up queues.
So for now, what they've told us is that they've got just more than 300 officials that are working here at the port of entry, and with that staff, they believe that they are enough to do the work at the present moment, even though they would love to have more people. So Dr. Michael Masiapato, the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, indicating that in terms of resources, they are struggling. Indeed, they'll want more, not only just on human resource, but also the improvement of systems at the border post, just to be at the standard of Zimbabwe, because most of the people who are crossing here, Thabo, are saying that that other side in Zimbabwe, it's very quick for them to be processed. But when they come to the South African side, then that's where they encounter those problems. But the BMA maintaining that those people who are on duty at the present moment have been doing their best to ensure that the people are...
Backlog iri ku Zimbabwean side, as we can all see, fellow Zimbabweans. I'm going to end this video here. We need to be reflecting. Patinopinda makore manyowani soka. Tofana kumbotenderedzwa kuti ezvino zvigore no nonsense. Not kusimbisana. Same cycles of sadism that we keep on going on as a nation. Because tiri Zimbabwe tesika amuna usi Zimbabwe uri one. So it's a collective effort. A revolution is a change of the mindset. Manje stiri nubu, This is where we are right now. 5 January 2026. I'm going to sign out. Dr. Clarence, TV7 Live. So I'll leave you watching these interesting catchy speeches.
Bombardment. They perished not in battle, but in hope, believing that their sacrifices would purchase a just, dignified, and prosperous Zimbabwe for all. The cries of those who fell still echo across these hills. Their blood speaks from the soil, reminding us that our freedom was not inherited. It was earned with suffering. The foreign are watching us. Their blood demands integrity. Their voices cry out against all ills, corruption, laziness, and moral decay. The liberation struggle was a collective mission in which the masses, that is, the people, the youth, traditional leaders and children, all played a decisive role. The same unit and singleness of purpose that drove our liberation struggle must now be the moral compass guiding us into the future. The central task before us, that is, to build a people-centered economy that empowers every Zimbabwean and ensures that our national wealth benefits all, not just a privileged few. Economic that is, to build a people-centered economy that empowers every Zimbabwean and ensures that our national wealth benefits all, not just a privileged few. Economic empowerment must be genuine, equipping all our people with the means to produce, innovate our own innovate and own our own destiny. Remain focused in what you want to achieve. So I say to the next generation of African leaders, who are you? The young generation here. My advice will be threefold. First, embrace resilience. Leadership will bring challenges and setbacks. What defines you is not the obstacles first. Obstacles, setbacks will always be found. Whether you are now still at school, or you are finished, or you are just getting into to start to with your any profession that we are doing, you have to understand that these things you are going to meet with them. But your determination to rise above those obstacles is what is critical. View difficulties as opportunities for growth, and let resilience transform adversity into strength. That's all. The second I want to advise you is cultivate accountability. Integrity, transparency are fundamental. Without these, myself, I want to take that. That was my area of study. You must be ethical at all times. There is no way that you can say this morning, I'm ethical, in the evening you are not. So, leadership is a trust praised to you by your people. Praised to you by your colleagues. Praised upon you by society. I think all of you have heard, there can never be too many cooks, and it.
These days, when Constantino Chiwenga speaks, Zimbabweans listen. They listen a little more carefully. This is not just another vice president giving routine speeches. This is the army commander whose tanks rode into Harare in 2017, whose signature is written all over Operation Restore Legacy, and whose shadow still hangs over the succession question. At the Zanu PF 2025 conference, his words cut deeper than usual. He reminded delegates that our freedom was not inherited. It was earned with suffering. Their blood speaks from the soil. And then he turned that memory into a weapon against today's leaders who are personalizing public wealth while preaching Vision 2030. The message was clear. Liberation blood did not flow so that a small elite could loot under new slogans. In speech after speech, Chiwenga has hammered the same theme. National wealth must benefit all, not just a privileged few. Miners are custodians of resources, not owners. And leadership must be defined by discipline, sacrifice, and integrity, not ostentatious lifestyles and corruption. For ordinary Zimbabweans, those lines sound like the sermon they have waited for. For some inside ZANU-PF, they sound like a warning shot. This is why his commentary on ED 2030 matters. When Mnangagwa loyalists push to stretch beyond 2028 in the name of Vision 2030, Chiwenga frames it as betrayal of the Constitution and of the promises made when Mugabe fell. He is not just debating policy, he is reclaiming the moral high ground of 2017 and saying we did not remove one long ruler to create another. But make no mistake, Chiwenga is no Democrat. Analysts describe him as a commander at heart, a man who trusts the order over consensus, hierarchy over negotiation, but also more scrutinized when protests treated as security threat, not a constitutional right. Zimbabwe could gain order and even lose more freedom in the same thought. Do you think so? Write your comment in the comment section as we continue watching quotable quotes from the Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. So when you hear his quotes circulate on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and conference clips, do not just ask, is he right about corruption? Also ask, what kind of Zimbabwe is he preparing for us? The man warning against personalizing public health is the same man who who helped design today's securocratic state. His words might clean up the party, but they might also tighten the state's grip. In the end, commentary is not just about Mnangagwa or ED 2030. It's about who gets to define patriotism, who owns the liberation story, and who decides where the line is between necessary discipline and outright dictatorship. Zimbabwe have had generals talk about order before. This time the question is whether the order will finally protect citizens or just protect power. Ladies and gentlemen,
extracted translates into jobs created, industries built, and value addition of non-negotiable principles of our mining strategy. To the miners who are here today and those who did not come,
you're not going to believe what happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're still continuing watching memorable speeches from the Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga.
you are the custodian of our mineral wealth. Handle it with integrity. It is not yours. It is for the people of this land. It is for the future generations of this country. Exploit it responsibly. Protect it as a national trust, not a personal gain. Our trust as government is to ensure everyone benefits from the mining sector, including future generations. We here and the current generation, we are not the alphas and omegas. They are future generations to come. They will need to survive, and they need these minerals. To the suppliers and service providers, you are the arteries of the mining ecosystem. Your expertise in equipment, logistics, and support keeps this industry alive. To the processors and off-takers, the era of raw mineral exports must give way to beneficiation and value addition. Mining must now drive industrialization, create jobs, and support downstream sectors. To the investors, both local and international, Zimbabwe remains open for business, not for extraction. And I repeat, it's open for business, but not for extraction. We seek mutual partnerships that ensure the minerals beneath our soil empower all our people. We are modernizing our regulatory frameworks and aligning with global best practices. The Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill, now gazetted, and actually in its second reading, modernizes our mining regime. It dovetails with global best practices by enforcing accountability, transparency, and corporate social responsibility.
Or even when a train is moving, it must have one head that pulls all the wagons. So that responsibility carried well. That's on accountability.
Hi, I'm Alex, and we've raised a total of $60 million to help brands rank #1.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let us pause for a second, because when Chiwenga speaks, the whole Zimbabwe listens. Some hear a general reminding the nation of discipline, others hear a warning to the corrupt and the power-hungry. But every time he steps to the microphone, one question echoes through the crowd. Is he preaching loyalty or preparing for a showdown? Ladies and gentlemen, what happens next in the nation of Zimbabwe?
Bombardment. They perished not in battle, but in hope, believing that their sacrifices would purchase a just, dignified, and prosperous Zimbabwe for all. The cries of those who fell still echo across these hills. Their blood speaks from the soil, reminding us that our freedom was not inherited. It was earned with suffering. The foreign are watching us. Their blood demands integrity. Their voices cry out against all ills, corruption, laziness, and moral decay. The liberation struggle was a collective mission in which the masses, that is, the people, the youth,